Hello my friends, how are you? Sharon Aker here for TrekCulture, and it's that time of the year where we want to take a little bit of time aside and discuss the people who've left us in 2023. There is no one person who is more important than anyone else when it comes to putting Star Trek out there and when it comes to giving us what we enjoy from this franchise. And that could be any role, any position, and any length of time. The entries that we'll be breaking down individually on this list, we will be concentrating on those who appeared on camera for the most part. But we do want to take a moment to really celebrate as well those people who might have worked behind the scenes who've left us in 2023 as well. Craig Smith, George Wilbur, Richard J. Annabile, Gerald Freed, Ed Fury, Carol Coden, Robert Jodlowski, Gordon Dawson, Michael Reeves, Paul S. Eckstein, Jerry Spicer, Stephen Lambert, Bob Scribner, Alan Asherman, Keith Giffen, Stephen Candle, and Robert Butler. In that list of names are people who've directed, written, costumed, lit, and composed for some of the most iconic moments in Star Trek history. There are authors and comic book writers as well, all of whom have contributed to building the Star Trek franchise into what it has become today. Every one of them deserves our respect, and I implore you, go and check out any one of these people, because their stories are as incredible as the stories that we watch on our screens from week to week. Let us dive into the list as it is. I'm Sharon Aker for TrekCulture, and here are 17 Star Trek actors who died in 2023. Number 17, Danny Goldring. Danny Goldring and the next name on our list both passed away in late 2022. Our list for the tributes were compiled midway through December, and unfortunately, both of these names were not included in the 2022 list. So, as I said at the time, and I say again, I can only apologize that they were missed at the time. Star Trek fans will probably remember him best for his appearance as that soldier in Nor the Battle to the Strong, who gives Jake Sisko a splash of some pretty cold water. Born in Illinois, Goldring tried his hands at several careers before he moved into the US Army, the Signal Corps. After he left there, he turned his hands toward engineering. His first forays into acting were on stage, but he did spend a couple of years working as part of a puppeteering company. He appeared in both Voyager and Enterprise as well, racking up 5 appearances overall. He also played a Cardassian legate, a Hirogen hunter, as well as both a Nausicaan and Tarket captain. Goldring passed away on December the 2nd, 2022. Number 16, Judy Lev. Judy Lev would best be remembered as the admiral who was not very happy about the idea of mothballing the Starfleet in Star Trek VI: The Undiscovered Country. This would also be in addition to her roles as one of the doctors in Star Trek IV: The Voyage Home and as one of the Elorian refugees in Star Trek Generations. Levitt would also find herself in a slew of movies and television projects too. She appeared in the Mission Impossible TV series as well as in the pilot episode of Dynasty. Along the way, she would work with many Star Trek alumni, although there was one who would follow her home. Levitt was married to original series actor Walter Koenig for 57 years. They appeared in Star Trek together and in Babylon 5 together. They had several children together as well, including the late Andrew Koenig. Judy passed away on December the 9th, 2022, at 83 years old. Number 15, Mark Margolis. If you see this man ringing a bell, it might be about time to get up and get out of the room. But long before he was the fearsome Hector Salamanca in both Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, he was giving Riker a serious headache in the Next Generation episode A Matter of Perspective. Margolis had a long career on stage, appearing in over 50 off-Broadway productions. He was also prolific in film, not least in the first 6 Darren Aronofsky pictures, and as well as a supporting role in Brian De Palma's Scarface. He made a guest appearance in Picard's Season 3 showrunner Terry Matalas's reimagined 12 Monkeys series, and received a Primetime Emmy nomination as well as a Saturn nomination for his role as Salamanca in Breaking Bad. He passed away in August 2023 at 83 years old. Number 14. Nicholas Kepros. Nicholas Kepras appeared, thanks to a handy season break, in both seasons 4 and season 5 of The Next Generation in the episodes Redemption. He played the scheming General Movar who was working alongside Commander Sela to aid the House of Duros during the Klingon Civil War. According to his obituary over on Legacy.com, it was a performance of Medea by Star Trek alumnus Dame Judith Anderson that convinced him that a career on stage was for him. He secured then a place in RADA, leaving a career in medicine behind to pursue his dream. He appeared in both television and film. He originated the role of Emperor Joseph II in Peter Sheffer's stage play Amadeus, and would then appear in Milos Forman's film version as well, though as a different character this time. He died in January 2023 at 90 years of age. Number 13, Nicholas Coster. Nicholas Coster appeared in the Next Generation episode The Offspring as the less than likable Admiral Haftel, who effectively ordered Data to give up his child. Now, while he does get a slight redemption in that episode, he would oddly appear as a kidnapper on the long-running series All My Children. Typecast? Coster's career spanned from the 1950s straight through to the 2020s, and it wasn't just limited to television. He appeared on film, and he also published a memoir toward the end of his life. He was married to Candace Hilligos until 1981, with whom he had 2 children. Coster was also a trained scuba diving instructor, and he helped to maintain a scuba diving school for people with disabilities. He passed away in June 2023 at aged 89. Number 12, Sharon Aker. Sharon Aker appeared as O'Donnell in the original series episode The Mark of Gideon. This often forgotten episode contains some of the most fun scenes on a deserted Enterprise between O'Donnell and Kirk. O'Donnell would serve as something of a doomed sacrifice for the overpopulated world from which she came. Aker had worked in shows like Mission Impossible the TV series, and also appeared in the pilot episode for Galactica Discovers Earth, although that series wouldn't be picked up. She was no stranger to theatre, and in fact she appeared alongside Sean Connery in a production of Macbeth. She would also try her hand at modelling, appearing in Life magazine alongside Angie Dickinson. Aker had 4 children, 2 from her first marriage, and 2 stepchildren with her second marriage. She died in March 2023 at 87 years of age. Number 11, Barbara Bosen. Barbara Bosen appeared in Star Trek Deep Space Nine's second season episode Rivals, sharing most of her scenes with Chris Sarandon as Martis. She played the Bajoran woman Roanna, who was effectively supposed to be bankrolling the Elorian trickster. She's probably most familiar to audiences for her role in Hill Street Blues. She was with the show for the first 5 seasons and 3 episodes of the 6th season, at which point she quit. In her career, she faced snide comments from detractors saying that she was only on the show because her then husband, Steve Bucko, was the show's creator, and once he was let go, she did stay with the show in an attempt to separate their careers before she knew that the producers really weren't interested in keeping her around. One of the things that she was proud of with the character was that while she had been introduced as a needling housewife, she managed to turn that character around to become a fierce supporter for victims of domestic violence. Bosen died in February 2023. She was 83 years old. Number 10, J. Patrick McNamara. J. Patrick McNamara appeared in 1 episode of The Next Generation, although his character, if you like, appeared in more. He played Captain Taggart of the USS Repulse, Dr. Pulaski's former commanding officer. He would appear in the episode Unnatural Selection when Captain Picard attempted to contact him to see if they could get some life-saving information to help Pulaski as she aged rapidly. McNamara, who was born Patrick John but had to change his name due to union rules, would probably be best remembered as Mr. Preston in both Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure and Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. Funnily enough, he had begun his career with certainty that he was going to become a lawyer, but as soon as he got the bug for acting, he left the law behind. He was directed by Steven Spielberg twice in his career, once in Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and also in 1941. Though he attempted to launch his own theatre company, it didn't pick up as expected, which encouraged him to return to his main passion, which was acting itself. With many credits both in front of and behind the camera, he retired from acting in 2016. He died in January 2023 at 80 years of age. Number 9, John Kopach. John Kopacz was an actor whose Star Trek career spanned decades, with his first appearance being in the original series episode The Doomsday Machine as a member of the away mission, Elliot, who miraculously survives. On his blog, which is still online, he credits this appearance to his friendship with Gene Coon. He would return to Star Trek about 20 years later and would go on to become a recurring background actor on The Next Generation, with more appearances in Star Trek Voyager and a rather dashing appearance on the holodeck in Star Trek First Contact. He had a long career in Hollywood with dozens of credits to his name, including, like others on this list, the Mission Impossible series, The Man from U.N.C.L.E., Bewitched, and Dynasty. He also kept a day job as a real estate broker. Kopacz died in June 2023. He was 98 years of age. Number 8. Patricia McNulty. Patricia McNulty appeared in Star Trek the original series. She was actually in one of the earliest episodes, Charlie X, as crewman Tina Lawton. This, obviously happening in the 1960s, was part of McNulty's brief foray into acting. She had studied at California State University Long Beach before deciding to concentrate on acting. She would have several television credits for a couple of years, but this would then fade away and she would move into things like editing. She would continue editing well into the 2000s and is credited as an editor on Avril Lavigne's Bones Tour movie. She married Don Durrell, another actor and avid golfer, though he predeceased her by 20 years as he passed away in 2003. She passed away in September 2023. She was 80 years of age. Number 7. Ken Lally. Ken Lally appeared as a security guard in 2 episodes of Star Trek Enterprise's 3rd season, Anomaly and Regine. He was a classically trained actor, having studied at Shakespeare's Globe in England, and he would also train as a martial artist and stunt coordinator. He appeared in big franchises like Pirates of the Caribbean, and would also appear in long-running television series such as Alias and Heroes, where he was cryptically only ever referred to as the German. His own biography on IMDb lists just how many times he's been beaten up and killed on screen, which if nothing else is surely a testament to how much he enjoyed the work that he was doing. He passed away in October of 2023 at 52 years old. Number 6. Peter White. Peter White played the role of Sharat in Deep Space Nine's 2nd season episode Armageddon Game. In 1968, he appeared in Matt Crowley's off-Broadway stage play The Boys in the Band. He also appeared in the 1970 film version, both times with Lawrence Luckinbill, who most of us would know as Sybok from Star Trek V. Speaking on this role, White said that at the time he had been enjoying a successful career, so the idea of taking on the role of a gay man attending a party thrown by other gay men was seen as a risk. He credited his one-time co-star and longtime mentor Myrna Loy for telling him that acting is about taking risks. He went on to appear in dozens of other productions and would reunite with his fellow Boys in the Band stars for a 2010 documentary on the film. White died in November 2023. He was 86 years of age. Number 5. Elizabeth Hoffman. Elizabeth Hoffman, despite all the prosthetics, would be immediately recognizable to Next Generation fans as Premier Bhavani of the Barzan race, which were introduced in the 3rd season episode, The Price. Her species, the Barzans, would return in Star Trek Discovery in the form of Commander Nan, who would appear in the 2nd season onwards. To some sci-fi fans, she would also be recognizable as Catherine Langford from Stargate SG-1. She took over the role for the television series, appearing in 2 episodes and a 3rd, if we count flashback footage as well. She had a long career in front of the camera, beginning with a few episode stint on Little House on the Prairie. She also was in one of those films that you love it or you hate it. Silent Night, Deadly Night 3, better watch out. I think it is hilarious. It was her role as Beatrice Ventnor on the series Sisters that probably brought her the most attention. She played the matriarch of the family and she stayed with the show for all 6 seasons. She died in August 2023 at 97 years of age. Number 4. Julian Christopher. Julian Christopher appeared in the infamous Next Generation episode Code of Honor as Hagon. He would also appear in the Deep Space Nine episode Tribunal as a Cardassian overseer. Between these 2 episodes, he had changed his screen name, so Julian Christopher appeared in Star Trek Deep Space Nine, whereas James or Jim Watkins appeared in The Next Generation. He appeared in a myriad of roles throughout his career. To some, he might best be remembered for his stint on Smallville. To others, he would be immediately recognizable as the security guard who decided this was good advice to give to Rebecca Romijn's Mystique in X-Men The Last Stand. Keep it up, bitch, I'll spray you in the face. Well, we all know how that went for that character, don't we? Christopher got his start in film with several roles in blaxploitation movies and would continue acting steadily throughout the 80s and 90s and into the 2000s. He died in February 2023 at 78 years of age. Number 3, Earl Bowen. It's Earl Bowen's voice that might best be remembered by Trekkies, as he played Nagilum in the second season episode of The Next Generation, Where Silence Has Lease. To many, his most popular role will be that of Dr. Peter Silberman in the first 3 Terminator films. Though he narrowly avoids Arnold Schwarzenegger's hulking mass in the first film, he does come face to face with the T-800 in both the second and third movies. Though he retired from acting in 2003, he had a long career in both acting in front of the camera and lending his voice to projects as well. He was the voice of the undead pirate LeChuck in the Monkey Island series of games. He retired to Honolulu in Hawaii, though he continued to make frequent appearances in LA as well. He died in January of 2023. He was 81 years old. Number 2, Manny Cotto. Manny Cotto was a background actor who appeared in the final episode of Star Trek Enterprise, These Are the Voyages, in a non-speaking clapping role of a Starfleet admiral. He also happened to be the showrunner and executive producer of the show as well. But the influence that Manny had over particularly the 4th season of Star Trek Enterprise is evident in every frame of footage. So much going on behind the scenes at Paramount that quite quickly he found himself as showrunner on the series' last season, and he set about righting many of the perceived wrongs that had happened in the 3 years previous. For example, an awful lot of the continuity issues were addressed in this final year. Following his tenure on Enterprise, he would go on to executive produce such shows as 24 and Dexter, American Horror Story and American Horror Stories. I actually had the chance to sit down with Manny earlier this year and record an episode of the podcast. I don't want to spoil anything, just listen to his excitement when he hears about the Xindi popping up in Star Trek Prodigy. It's a really heartwarming moment. Cotto died in July 2023. He was 62 years old. Number 1, Annie Wersching. Annie Wersching first appeared in Star Trek Enterprise in the episode Oasis, though she would of course be best remembered now for her role as the Borg Queen in Season 2 of Star Trek Picard. She also provided the voice and motion capture for Tess in the video game The Last of Us. Wersching had competed in Irish dancing earlier on in life and was a member of the St. Louis Celtic Step Dancers group. She went on to attain a BFA in musical theatre from Millikan University in 1999. She was diagnosed with cancer in 2020, though she kept this diagnosis to herself and continued to work, which included her time filming for Star Trek Picard. The first episode of the 3rd season, titled The Next Generation, is dedicated to her memory, and the USS Wersching was parked at the Fleet Museum in the episode The Bounty. Wersching died in January 2023. She is survived by her husband and 3 sons. Folks, thank you very much for watching along. Please follow us on the various social networks at TrekCulture, and at TrekCultureYT is the only different one over on Instagram. I'm at Sean Ferrick on the various socials, and at Tom Roberts Finn, or at Tom C. Finn, is the handle for Tom, who edited this video together. So folks, thank you very much. Have a very Merry Christmas. Look after yourselves. Be kind to yourself and others. And we will see you in the new year. Live long and prosper.